Ladies and gentlemen, life is a series of decisions. Some small, some big, but every one of them leaves a mark. Each choice you make today is like casting a vote. Not in an election booth, but in the ballot box of your future self. When you choose discipline over ease, you're voting for strength. When you choose learning over entertainment, you're voting for wisdom. When you choose kindness over selfishness, you're voting for character. The truth is, you cannot escape the fact that your future is being shaped not by the choices you'll make someday, but by the choices you're making right now. Think of it this way: if every action is a seed, then every choice is a farmer's hand dropping that seed into the soil of tomorrow. You will harvest what you plant. Some plant laziness and reap regret. Others plant diligence and reap opportunity. You can't sow weeds and expect a garden. And here's the good news: your future is not written in stone. It is written in the ink of daily decisions. That means you can change the direction of your life by changing the votes you cast each day. So be wise. Cast your votes carefully. Ask yourself, with this choice, am I voting for the person I want to become or against them? Because at the end of the day, you don't just make choices, you become them. Every choice is a silent vote. That means your daily actions, some so small they seem invisible, are quietly shaping who you're becoming. Most people think life is shaped only by big, dramatic decisions. Which career to pursue, who to marry, where to live. But the truth is, those big decisions are often nothing more than the result of thousands of little ones. You don't suddenly arrive at discipline or success or wisdom by accident. You arrive there because, day by day, choice by choice, you've been casting silent votes in that direction. Think about it like this: if your life were an election, the candidate on the ballot is your future self. The version of you that's strong, wise, healthy, and fulfilled is running against the version of you that's weak, distracted, unhealthy, and unfulfilled. Every decision you make is a ballot cast for one side or the other. Eat the donut instead of the apple. That's a vote. Read a book instead of scrolling endlessly. Another vote. Skip the workout or go for the run. Both are votes. The tally is ongoing, and there's no neutral ground. Each choice, no matter how small, tips the balance one way or the other. The challenge is that votes don't seem to matter much in isolation. One cookie doesn't ruin your health. One missed workout doesn't destroy your fitness. One late night of wasted time doesn't erase your future. That's why most people dismiss the small decisions. They seem harmless. But here's the catch: one vote doesn't decide the election, but many votes do. It's the accumulation of those small daily ballots that determine which future self wins. In the moment, you may not notice the weight of your decision, but over time, you cannot escape its compound effect. Consider habits. Habits are nothing more than choices repeated until they no longer require effort. Every time you repeat an action, you're not just performing it, you're reinforcing your identity. When you choose to be disciplined with money today, you're not just saving a few dollars. You're voting for the identity of someone who is financially wise. When you choose to write a page in your journal or practice your craft, you're voting for the identity of a thinker, a creator, a professional. Choices don't just lead to outcomes, they form identity. And once identity forms, it begins to direct future choices automatically. That's the power of these silent votes. This is also why excuses are dangerous. Every time you say, "It's just one time," you're pretending that the vote doesn't count. But it always counts. The mind takes notes. Your body takes notes. Your character takes notes. And slowly, either the strong self or the weak self gains the upper hand. The way to break free from a destructive pattern is not through one giant leap of transformation, but through the slow, steady accumulation of better votes. Here's the encouraging part: you don't need a perfect voting record. You don't have to cast every ballot for your best self. Even elections are won by a majority, not unanimity. That means if you slip, if you stumble, if you make a choice you regret, that doesn't erase your progress. What matters is the direction of your voting trend. If most of your choices point toward health, discipline, and growth, you will eventually become that person, despite the occasional misstep. So the real question to ask in each moment is simple with this choice. What kind of person am I casting a vote for? Do I want to be the kind of person who skips commitments or the kind who honors them? Do I want to be the kind of person who avoids the hard work or the kind who faces it? Do I want to be the kind of person who spends life reacting or the kind who lives with intention? Because the truth is, your life is not shaped by chance, but by choice. And every choice is a silent vote in the election of your future. Discipline is a vote for strength. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you are saying yes to becoming a stronger version of yourself. The truth is, strength doesn't arrive by accident. It isn't gifted. It is built, choice by choice, day after day. When you decide to do what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it. Strength is the result of discipline applied consistently. And each act of discipline is like lifting a weight for your character. You may not see the muscle grow overnight, but each repetition matters. Think about the moments where the path divides. On one side lies comfort, on the other lies discipline. Comfort whispers, stay in bed a little longer. Skip the workout, put off the hard conversation. Indulge just this once. Discipline whispers something different. Get up now. Do what you said you would. Face the task. And in that moment, the vote you cast decides which voice will be louder the next time. Choose comfort too often, and weakness begins to grow roots. Choose discipline more often, and strength takes its place. Discipline is rarely glamorous. It is not dramatic or loud. It doesn't usually win applause. It happens quietly when you sit down to work while others are distracted. It happens when you push through the last 5 minutes of exercise, when your body is asking you to quit. It happens when you keep saving money instead of spending it, even though you'd rather indulge now. These are not just actions, they are votes. And each vote is counted in the hidden ballot box of your character. Over time, the results show up in resilience, in confidence, in the ability to endure what others cannot. One of the secrets of discipline is that it multiplies. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. Just as a muscle responds to resistance, the will responds to challenge. The first time you resist temptation, it feels almost impossible. But the second time, it's a little easier. The third time, easier still. Before long, you find yourself naturally leaning toward the disciplined path because you have become the kind of person who does not give in easily. The strength you built yesterday shows up as power for today. There is also a deeper reward. Discipline brings freedom. It may sound like a contradiction, but it's true. The disciplined person is free to live with confidence, while the undisciplined person lives chained to regret. The disciplined person is free to enjoy health because they practiced restraint in diet and effort in exercise. The undisciplined person is bound by sickness, not because of bad luck, but because of repeated careless votes. The disciplined person is free financially because they practiced self-control when it mattered. The undisciplined person is enslaved to debt. Freedom always belongs to those who have chosen discipline. And here's the encouraging part: discipline doesn't require perfection. You don't need to win every battle. You only need to win more than you lose. Each victory is a deposit into your account of strength. Each time you do what's hard, you reinforce the identity of someone who can be trusted. By others, but more importantly, by yourself. Confidence comes from keeping promises, and discipline is the act of keeping promises to yourself. So when faced with the choice, discipline or ease, remember what's really at stake. It's not just about the task at hand. It's not just about going for the run, finishing the project, or saying no to the distraction. It's about casting a vote for strength. It's about proving to yourself, in the smallest of ways, that you are the kind of person who can be trusted to follow through. Every time you choose discipline, you are not just doing a hard thing, you are becoming a stronger person. And one day, when life tests you in ways you cannot predict, it will not be talent, luck, or charm that carries you through. It will be strength. The kind of strength that was built quietly, vote by vote, in the moments when no one was watching. Learning is a vote for wisdom. Every time you pick up a book instead of the remote, every time you ask a question instead of pretending you already know, Every time you pause to reflect instead of rushing blindly ahead, you are casting a vote for wisdom. Wisdom doesn't appear suddenly in old age. It doesn't automatically come with experience. It comes with the deliberate choice to learn, to grow, and to apply what you've discovered. Experience alone is not enough. Experience combined with reflection and learning is what produces wisdom. Every choice to learn, no matter how small, builds a library inside you. Read one page a day, and over time you build knowledge. Listen to one insightful conversation instead of gossip, and you begin to see the world differently. Take time to study your mistakes, and you earn lessons that most people throw away. Learning is not just about collecting facts. It is about shaping the lens through which you see life. The person who chooses learning sharpens their vision, while the person who ignores it walks through life blind to opportunities and blind to dangers. The danger is that ignorance doesn't show itself right away. If you choose entertainment over education today, you won't notice the loss tomorrow. If you choose to avoid reading, avoid listening, avoid asking questions, no alarm bell goes off. But years later, when challenges come, ignorance demands its price. The bill always arrives. The one who refused to learn is unprepared, while the one who consistently chose learning stands ready. This is why every moment of learning matters. It is preparation for the unknown. Consider money. If you choose to learn how money works, how to save, invest, and manage it, you are voting for financial wisdom. That wisdom compounds over time and creates options. Ignore it, and you may find yourself chained to debt, no matter how hard you work. Consider relationships. If you choose to learn communication, patience, and empathy, you are voting for relational wisdom. That wisdom protects you from unnecessary conflict and helps you build lasting bonds. Ignore it, and misunderstandings and broken connections become your constant companions. In every area of life, the choice to learn is a choice to protect yourself from future pain and position yourself for future success. Learning also requires humility. To learn is to admit you don't know everything. It's a vote against arrogance. Arrogance says, I already know enough. Wisdom says, there's always more to discover. The moment you stop learning, you stop growing, and the world will pass you by. But when you make learning a lifelong habit, you remain adaptable, curious, and relevant. The person who is willing to learn can adjust to new times, new tools, and new challenges. The one who refuses is left behind. And here's the beauty. Learning is not limited to classrooms or degrees. Life itself is the greatest teacher if you're willing to pay attention. Every success leaves clues. Every failure carries lessons. Every person you meet knows something you don't. The question is, are you humble enough to notice? Are you intentional enough to ask? Are you disciplined enough to write it down and use it? Each time you choose to learn, you are reinforcing the identity of someone who grows wiser with age, rather than merely older. The harvest of learning is not just knowledge. It is perspective. The more you learn, the more patterns you see. Problems that confuse others make sense to you because you've seen them before. Where others panic, you stay calm. Where others react, you respond with thought. That's the power of wisdom. It allows you to live not just by impulse, but by insight. So when faced with the choice, do I keep learning or do I stay the same? Remember what's at stake. It's not just a book, not just a class, not just a conversation. It's a vote for wisdom, a vote for clarity, a vote for the kind of person who is prepared for life instead of surprised by it. In the end, wisdom is not the result of one big decision, but of thousands of little ones. Each time you choose to learn, you're adding another brick to the foundation of a life that can weather storms. Every page, every lesson, every moment of curiosity, it all adds up. And one day, when others wonder how you stay calm, how you make good choices, how you avoid the pitfalls that trap them, the answer will be simple. You voted for wisdom, one choice at a time. Character is built by choice. It doesn't arrive fully formed. It doesn't come as a gift at birth. It is constructed brick by brick, decision by decision, in the unseen moments of life. Every time you choose honesty over deceit, kindness over selfishness, integrity over convenience, you are casting a vote for the person you're becoming. You are building character. And just like a house is built one stone at a time, character is built one choice at a time. What makes character powerful is that it is revealed not in grand gestures, but in the small, everyday decisions. Most people imagine character as something proven only in dramatic tests, standing firm in a crisis, refusing a bribe, risking your life for a principle. But those moments are only the fruit of seeds planted long before. The strength to stand in a crisis comes from the countless smaller votes for integrity when it seemed like no one was watching. You don't suddenly become honest in a big test if you've been dishonest in the little things. You don't suddenly become faithful in a relationship if you've been careless with small promises. The choices you make in private prepare you for the tests you will face in public. Character is reputation's foundation. Reputation is what people think of you, but character is who you really are when no one is watching. A strong reputation built on weak character will eventually collapse, because truth has a way of surfacing. But when reputation is built on solid character, it lasts. Every time you tell the truth when lying would be easier, you are casting a vote for trustworthiness. Every time you show kindness when harshness would be simpler, you are voting for compassion. Every time you honor your word, even when it costs you, you are voting for integrity. These votes add up to a person whose character cannot be shaken easily. And a character has a ripple effect. It doesn't stay contained within you. It influences everyone around you. A parent's choices shape the values of their children. A leader's decisions shape the culture of an organization. A friend's behavior either elevates or diminishes the group. When you build strong character, you are not only protecting your own future, you are strengthening the lives of those who look to you for example. The reverse is also true. Weak character doesn't just harm you, it harms those who trust you. That's why every choice of character carries so much weight. But here's the challenge: the easy road rarely builds character. It's easier to cut corners than to do the job right. It's easier to tell a half truth than to admit the whole. It's easier to take than to give. Character requires effort. It requires choosing what is right, not what is easy. And yet the reward is worth it. When you build strong character, you sleep better at night because you know you've lived honestly. You walk taller because your integrity isn't for sale. You move through life with peace because you're not hiding secrets or covering tracks. That is a reward money cannot buy. And remember, character isn't about perfection. No one gets it right every time. You may fail, stumble, or even make choices you regret. But character is forged in the recovery too. Every time you admit your mistake instead of covering it up, you are voting for humility. Every time you get back up and try again, you are voting for perseverance. What matters most is the direction of your choices. Are you trending toward honesty, integrity, and kindness, or drifting away from them? The pattern of votes determines the person you become. In the end, character is destiny. Opportunities may come and go. Wealth may rise and fall. Circumstances may change overnight. But who you are, your character, travels with you through it all. And since character is built one decision at a time, every choice you face is a chance to lay another brick in the structure of your life. With each vote for honesty, kindness, and integrity, you are building a house that will stand the storms. And when the winds of life blow, as they always do, you'll discover that a life built on character does not fall. Seeds of choice become harvests of life. Every decision you make is like dropping a seed into the soil of your future. Some seeds are good: discipline, kindness, learning, integrity. Others are harmful: laziness, dishonesty, neglect, selfishness. The soil doesn't argue with you. It simply produces according to what you plant. You cannot plant weeds and expect roses. You cannot sow neglect and expect prosperity. Life, like the earth, is faithful to give back what you consistently put in. The challenge is that seeds don't sprout overnight. When you plant a choice today, you may not see the result tomorrow. That's why so many people get careless. They say, it doesn't matter if I skip today's workout. It doesn't matter if I spend money carelessly this one time. It doesn't matter if I speak harshly just once. And it's true. One seed rarely determines a harvest. But what you repeat becomes the crop you reap. A farmer doesn't expect one seed to cover an entire field, but he knows that many seeds, planted daily and faithfully, will grow into a harvest too big to ignore. Consider health. Every choice about food, exercise, rest, and stress management is a seed. One unhealthy meal won't destroy you, and one healthy meal won't save you. But the repeated choices over weeks, months, and years add up. A harvest of energy, vitality, and strength, or a harvest of weakness and disease, comes from the seeds you've been planting all along. Think about finances. Every dollar spent or saved is a seed. Save consistently, invest wisely, live below your means, and the harvest will be security and freedom. Spend carelessly, pile up debt, chase quick fixes, and the harvest will be stress and limitation. Money doesn't just happen to people. It grows in the soil of their daily financial choices. Relationships work the same way. Every word spoken, every act of kindness, every moment of patience is a seed. You can't expect to harvest trust and love if you've been planting neglect and criticism. Just like a garden, relationships flourish when tended and wither when ignored. A strong marriage, a deep friendship, a meaningful partnership. These are not the result of luck. They are the result of seeds planted consistently over time. And here's the truth: the harvest is always bigger than the seed. One seed of corn produces an entire stalk, with many more kernels. In the same way, a single choice may seem small, but its effects multiply. A small decision to learn every day may lead to wisdom that shapes an entire career. A single choice to say no to temptation may prevent years of regret. The little things grow into big things, whether for good or bad. That's why seeds matter so much. But there is good news. You can change your harvest by changing your seeds. Maybe you've been careless in the past. Maybe you've planted seeds of neglect or weakness. You cannot change the crops already in the field, but you can start planting better seeds today. And given enough time, the new harvest will come. Life forgives when you decide to sow differently. The key is to stop complaining about the harvest and start changing the seeds. The farmer knows that planting is not glamorous. It's daily, repetitive, and sometimes boring work. But he also knows the harvest is worth it. The same is true in life. You may not see results immediately, but if you trust the process, if you keep planting discipline, integrity, and kindness, one day you will look around and see the field of blessings you've grown. So when you face a choice, don't ask only, what do I want now? Ask, what seed am I planting? What harvest will this produce? Because whether you want it or not, the harvest is coming. And it will not be the harvest you hoped for. It will be the harvest you planted for. The future is flexible. It is not a fixed destination, not a rigid path carved in stone. It bends and reshapes itself according to the choices you make today. Too many people believe that their life is already written, that circumstances, upbringing, or past mistakes have locked them into a single outcome. But the truth is, every day you are given fresh clay, and with each decision you mold your tomorrow. The person you will become is not dictated by fate, it is sculpted by your choices. This is why no one should ever say, it's too late for me. As long as you are alive, you have the power to cast new votes, to plant new seeds, to chart a new course. You may not be able to undo yesterday's harvest, but you can decide what you'll plant today. You may not be able to erase mistakes, but you can learn from them and choose differently going forward. The past may explain you, but it does not have to define you. The future remains flexible, waiting for the choices you will make next. Think of it like steering a ship. If you drifted off course for miles, it does no good to lament where you've been. What matters is the turn of the wheel in your hand. A small shift in direction today, even if it seems insignificant, will completely change where you end up tomorrow. If you adjust by just a few degrees, the destination in a year, 5 years, or 10 years will be drastically different. The future responds not to regret, but to redirection. Consider someone who has neglected their health for years. At first glance, the damage may seem permanent. But the moment they begin making better choices, walking daily, eating better, sleeping consistently, the future begins to bend. Maybe the past choices took a toll, but new choices create new strength, new energy, and new possibilities. Or think about finances. A person drowning in debt may feel hopeless. But as soon as they begin voting differently, spending less, saving more, learning about money, their future begins to take a new shape. The same is true in relationships. Even if years of neglect have left scars, the decision to listen, to forgive, to communicate can begin rewriting the future of that bond. The flexibility of the future is a gift, but it is also a responsibility. If your future is shaped by your choices, then you cannot blame others for where you end up. Excuses cannot shape a better tomorrow. Only decisions can. This truth may feel heavy, but it is also liberating. Because if it is up to you, then you are not trapped. You hold the power to bend the future into something better. The danger is thinking that change requires one dramatic, sweeping decision. People wait for a perfect moment, a big break, or a sudden transformation. But the future does not bend in leaps, it bends in increments. Small daily choices repeated with consistency, slowly but surely redirect your path. That's why today matters so much. The little choices you make this very day are already bending the future into shape. And here's the hope. Your future does not care where you started. Two people may begin life at completely different points, but if one chooses wisely and consistently, and the other chooses carelessly, the one with the better votes will end up ahead. Life is not about where you began, but where you are heading. The flexibility of the future gives every person a chance to start fresh, to create a life worth living. So when you wake up each morning, remember this: you are holding the pen, and today you get to write another line in the story of your life. You are not locked in. You are not finished. You are becoming. And with each choice, you shape the clay, you turn the wheel, you bend the path. The future is not fixed, it is flexible. And it is waiting for you to decide who you will become.